Today's episode plunges deep into the most terrifying, claustrophobic, and tragic cave exploration stories ever documented. These are real events, real people, and real consequences. Caving isn't just about adventure, it's about confronting the unknown, and sometimes paying the ultimate price. Grab a flashlight, take a deep breath, and prepare for 7 chilling cave disasters that prove why some caves are best left unexplored. 1. Peter Verhelst, Sterkfontein Cave, South Africa. In September of 1984, on what seemed like just another warm weekend, 3 experienced divers, Nuno Gomes, Peter Verhelst, and Malcolm, prepared for an exploration in South Africa's Sterkfontein Caves. This place was more than just a natural wonder. It was a fossil gold mine, with roots stretching back over 2 million years. Peter was always the curious one, always the type to poke around places others avoided. Nuno had already mapped part of the route 2 weeks prior, so the team felt confident. They maneuvered through narrow submerged passages with ease, crossing chambers like the elephant room, and eventually reaching a small oval chamber, a place barely 3 meters wide, but steeped in prehistoric energy. On their way back, Peter did what he always did. He veered off to inspect a side tunnel. It didn't seem dangerous at first. He was experienced, cool-headed, and knew how to handle himself. He rejoined the team not long after, and everything seemed fine. Until it wasn't. As they reached Milner Hall, a massive chamber riddled with side passages, Peter disappeared again. This time, there were no lights, no bubbles, no indication of where he went. Nuno and Malcolm searched tirelessly, but the silt stirred up during the dive, made visibility near zero. Even when help arrived, fire brigade, police divers, more friends, the visibility remained terrible, and no one could locate Peter. And tragically, they were forced to halt the search. But Peter hadn't drowned, not immediately. He had made it into a small air chamber, alone, clinging to life in the dark. He conserved battery, hoped for rescue, and left messages on the cave walls. For 3 weeks, he fought to survive. His body wasted away. His final note, scrawled on the stone in what would become his tomb, simply read, "I love you, Shirley and Mom." It would be 6 weeks before his friends found him. 2. Floyd Collins, Sand Cave, Kentucky, 1925. Back in 1925, caves weren't just for explorers, they were a business. And Floyd Collins saw opportunity in a narrow, unknown cavern in Kentucky called Sand Cave. Floyd wasn't reckless. He was calculated, determined, and driven by the hope of making this cave a tourist destination. He widened passages, cleared rocks, and worked non-stop for weeks. Then came January 30th, the day he made the biggest and final descent of his life. With a kerosene lantern and his usual grit, Floyd squeezed through a passage no taller than 9 inches. He made it deeper than anyone had before, reaching what he believed was a major chamber. But as he turned back, his lantern broke, plunging him into complete darkness. That's when disaster truly struck. A rock fell, crushing his leg and pinning him in place. With no way to move and no one immediately aware of his situation, Floyd was trapped in an icy tomb. Eventually, his absence was noticed, and rescuers raced to help, but the narrow tunnels and falling rocks made it nearly impossible to get him out. The rescue efforts became national news. Thousands gathered outside, turning the site into a full-blown media circus. Journalists crawled into the cave to interview him. Bonfires burned, vendors showed up. It was chaos. Despite the massive effort, despite hearing his voice echoing from the tunnel for over 2 weeks, they never freed him. On February 16th, a rescuer finally reached Floyd, only to confirm the worst. He had died alone in that cold, narrow passage, just inches away from freedom. 3. John Edward Jones, Nutty Putty Cave, Utah, 2009. Nutty Putty Cave sounds innocent, even whimsical, but in 2009 it became the site of one of the most harrowing and heartbreaking caving tragedies in modern times. John Edward Jones, a 26-year-old medical student, ventured into the cave with his brother and friends for what they thought would be a short adventure. He had caved in his youth, but this was his first time back in years. He ended up exploring a route he thought led to the birth canal, a narrow but navigable section. But what he actually entered was a tight, poorly mapped area called Ed's Push. A vertical squeeze barely 18 inches wide, John slid downward, got wedged upside down at a 70-degree angle, and couldn't go back. Gravity pressed against his lungs, blood pooled in his head, and time started running out. Rescue teams arrived and tried everything: rope systems, pulley rigs, communication, but nothing worked. They even considered breaking his legs to pull him free, but medics warned it could kill him instantly. John stayed trapped for over 27 hours, upside down. His lungs eventually gave out. His heart followed. At 11:56 p.m. on November 25th, he was gone. His body remains in the cave to this day. A nutty putty was permanently sealed, turned into a tomb in his memory. 4. John Waddell, Abandoned Mine, Arizona, 2018. This one didn't end in tragedy, but it came terrifyingly close. John Waddell, a 60-year-old gold miner, believed he had finally found the motherlode in a mine northwest of Phoenix. He called his friend before going in, a habit that would save his life. Lowering himself down a 100-foot vertical shaft with a pulley system, disaster struck halfway down. The rigging snapped, and John fell, smashing into the bottom. His leg shattered, his ankle dislocated, and he had no water, food, or working light. He managed to reset his own leg with a stick, made a splint, and survived in complete darkness, fighting off rattlesnakes, sucking the pus from blisters just to feel moisture, and hallucinating from pain and exhaustion. After 2 days, his friend returned and heard his voice. Rescuers pulled him out and rushed him to the hospital. It was a miracle he survived, but a reminder that even the most experienced explorers can fall victim to the silence below. 5. Grant and Michael, Ellison's Cave, Georgia, 2011. Ellison's Cave in Georgia is known for the fantastic pit, the deepest vertical drop in the US. Twice as tall as the Statue of Liberty, it's no place for the unprepared. In February 2011, 10 college students from Florida, led by Grant Lackenbach, entered the cave with high hopes and little experience. They weren't planning on a deep dive, just a short exploration. But when a backpack fell into warm-up pit, a 125-foot drop, Grant volunteered to retrieve it. The cave was freezing, and a waterfall poured down into the pit, soaking him completely. His rope twisted, his body froze, and he became immobilized mid-descent. His best friend, Michael, immediately tried to rescue him, but the water and cold were too much. They were both drenched, trapped, and freezing to death. When rescuers arrived, it was already too late. Both Grant and Michael had succumbed to hypothermia, their bodies found entangled at the bottom of the pit. 6. Jennifer Ariel Blake Scott, Gollum's Cave. Gollum's Cave was more of a student dare than a mapped-out expedition. Located beside a university campus, it was a tight, half-submerged nightmare with barely any room to move. One late night, Jennifer Gilbreth and a group of friends decided to give it another try, despite her previous experience passing out from hypothermia inside the same cave. They entered at 2 a.m. with just one flashlight. The main challenge was a narrow, water-filled tunnel with only a rope to guide the way. Jennifer went in first, but struggled to find the exit. The bad air inside the tunnel, lacking oxygen, reduced her ability to hold her breath. She likely blacked out and drowned before finding her way out. Ariel followed and encountered Jennifer's lifeless body in the tunnel. The others, unaware of what was happening, followed too, and the tunnel became a deadly bottleneck. By the time rescue crews arrived, all 4 friends had drowned, their bodies found stacked near the exit hole, facing the only way out. 7. Donald, Crooked Swamp Cave. It was supposed to be a simple scout trip. Donald, a seasoned cave guide and father, took a group of young scouts into the Crooked Swamp Cave, a tight, muddy cave with barely enough room for a grown adult. He decided to explore one of the narrow side tunnels himself, a move he wouldn't survive. He slipped into a keyhole-shaped tunnel, slid down, and became wedged in a 5-inch gap, arms pinned, unable to move. His sons called for help, and rescuers arrived, trying everything: ropes, pulleys, chisels, even dynamite. They dug from a second entrance and brought in 2 sisters with tiny frames to try to reach him. But it wasn't enough. After 72 hours, Donald succumbed to hypothermia and exposure, dying just out of reach. The cave was later sealed to protect future explorers. The scouts who were with Donald would never forget the helplessness in the cave. His sons, Christopher and Roger, stood by as his legs disappeared into the crevice. Donald stayed calm as long as he could, reassuring the boys with jokes and advice. His voice, once steady, began to weaken. Rescuers fed him warm water when possible and even played soft music to ease the tension. But the angle of his body made it hard for blood to circulate. He was slowly slipping away. By the second night, the cold in the cave became unbearable. Volunteers huddled near fires above ground while specialists chipped away at the rock below. They used oxygen tanks and mounted lights, but progress was painfully slow. Every few inches risked collapse. Still, Donald encouraged them whenever he could. "You're doing great," he whispered at one point, voice barely audible. Outside, the scouts waited. News crews gathered. Tension built. Donald's wife arrived on day 2 and sat near the entrance, silent and steady, refusing to leave. Inside, Donald's condition worsened. A medic who reached him reported shallow breathing and pale skin. A heating blanket was used, but the damp air stole away any warmth. A third rescue team arrived from a military base with better tools. They used fiber optic cameras to guide their dig. But the dense rock worked against them. They proposed a new tunnel route, one that might have reached him in time, but time was slipping away fast. In the final hours, a desperate push was made. Jackhammers buzzed and debris was hauled out by hand. Inch by inch, they got closer. But by Tuesday morning, the cave fell silent. A nurse crawled in with a Doppler monitor. There was no pulse. Donald had passed sometime before dawn. Recovering his body wasn't simple. The space was tight and unstable. For a time, the cave became his resting place. Days later, after careful planning, his body was removed. It took an entire day to bring him out. His death struck the community hard. His sons, overcome with grief, stayed quiet. But one scout said he'd never forget Donald's bravery. He didn't just talk about courage, he showed it. Crooked Swamp Cave was permanently sealed. A plaque marks the site now, not just in remembrance of Donald, but as a warning. What started as a bonding trip became a sobering reminder of how merciless the earth can be. In the end, the cave kept him longer than anyone expected, and the story became part of caving history forever. Caving is one of the most thrilling, otherworldly adventures anyone can embark on, but it comes with extreme danger. One wrong move, one tight squeeze, or one overlooked protocol, and it can cost everything. These stories aren't just cautionary tales, they're reminders that some places, no matter how fascinating, may be better left unexplored. Enjoyed this chilling dive into the world of extreme cave exploration? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and give the video a thumbs up.